Hey, what's up, everybody? Get on in here. Welcome to the Uplift. We have a great show for you today and a great cast of characters. A 103-year-old woman has one of the most dangerous jobs in the country. A couple who received devastating news at the start of their relationship, but didn't let it prevent them from creating their own love story. A mom who has worked for years to create an accessible playground in her hometown, see her dream come true. Plus, a group of guys on a bachelor party who put the fun on pause to rescue a furry friend. And Tony tries his hand at being a stuntman. How does he compare to the great Tom Cruise? Find out coming up. You're watching The Uplift. Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Nate Burleson. This is a show that will lift you up for at least the next 30 minutes. And we begin with a couple who received devastating news just 2 months into their relationship. But that did not stop their love story from unfolding. Here's Caitlin O'Kane.
For their first date, Sherry Shaw and Bill James weathered a storm together, literally.
Neither one of us knew a nor'easter was coming. Pretty soon, after hours, we were enjoying the conversation. We were having so much fun talking. It was a real bonding experience. It started to rain harder and harder and harder. The wind started blowing like crazy, and pretty soon the road started closing.
The next day, the clouds parted and their relationship started to bud. But just 2 months into dating, another storm rolled in. Sherry was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer.
And I had known that he had wanted to travel, so I pretty much told him, time to break up. You can go travel, and I'm going to deal with cancer. And he refused to let me do that.
She decided to travel to Texas to receive treatment at MD Anderson Cancer Center, and Bill wasn't going to let her go alone.
To get from North Carolina to Texas, that was a big undertaking. He actually went out and bought a big SUV just to take us there.
Sherry was told the battle would be brutal, but she was determined in her fight. Doctors Emma Holliday and Van Morris were Sherry's main doctors, and they were there to witness her love story with Bill unfold as she received treatment.
Relationship continued. We felt like we were so bonded during that time. I mean, we were total partners. He drove me every morning to the hospital. He was there to pick me up. He never left the hospital. He was outside waiting for me whenever I could go. And I felt like that was a gift that he gave to me. I fell in love with him. He fell in love with me, and it was amazing that something like that can happen during cancer treatment.
After months of treatment, Sherry returned home with Bill, free of cancer, but full of love. The pair decided to tie the knot, so Sherry asked her doctors to play a new role in her love story.
I realized that they were such a part of me being able to marry my best friend that I wanted them there. I wanted them to celebrate. But more than that, I wanted them both to escort me down the aisle so that they could actually give me to Bill, because they were the hands and feet that saved me and allowed me time to marry Bill.
The storm was over, but they didn't want to forget the people who weathered it with them.
I was so honored that they came, so honored that they took time out of their schedule to be here for me, that they got to see what they saved me for.
Oh man, there is nothing like a good love story. All right, now we introduce you to a woman in Maine who has one of the most dangerous jobs in the country at 103 years old. Here's Steve Hartman.
Max Oliver is an old salt, but to his crewmate on this lobster boat, Max is but a child. Her child. As we first reported a couple years ago, then 101-year-old Virginia Oliver was Maine's oldest lobster fisherman. 3 days a week, May through November, You could find Virginia out here on Penobscot Bay,
Let it bite you.
tackling one of the most hazardous jobs in the country.
Have they ever gotten you?
Of course.
Once she got cut so badly, she needed 7 stitches.
And the doctor said to me, "What are you out there lobstering for?"
Good question.
And I said, "Because I want to."
I think he might have thought that was a little too dangerous for somebody of your
Well,
age.
I don't care what he thought.
Well, clearly.
Yeah.
Virginia had been lobstering on and off since the age of 7. She used to go out with her father. It was man's work then, not another girl in sight. But 9 decades later, she was the master of the sea. After Max hauled in the traps, Virginia measured the lobsters,
Don't go on.
tossed out the small ones,
Gonna throw it away.
and then tamed the claws of the keepers.
Who's the boss out there?
I am.
She don't give up.
What would she say if you said, I'm ready to retire?
You better have something wrong with you.
You better have something wrong with you.
It's been 2 years since our visit, and I'm happy to report that almost nothing has changed. Later this month, at the age of 103, Virginia will begin her 95th lobstering season. There's a children's book now, and she's gained some celebrity, but Virginia remains the same humble lobster woman with the same retirement plan.
When I die.
When you die.
Yeah.
In other words, no time soon.
That's what one of my favorite rappers said, I'll retire out when I die out. All right, coming up after the break, meet a man who found himself homeless and discovered a unique way to help himself and his ailing wife.
We're not going to Mimo's.
Why?
Because of where we're at.
Where?
A Big Time Rush concert.
Wait, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Big Time Rush? What? I'm not buckling. Where are they?
Well, they're going to be playing tonight, but...
Can I take my shirt off?
Yeah, put that one on.
Hey, how? I'm gonna cry.
That little boy with the rosy red cheeks is 6-year-old Harrison in Ohio, who is a huge Rush fan. His parents told him that he was going to his grandmother's house, but instead they surprised him with his first ever concert. He said he would cry, and he did. He cried tears of joy watching his favorite band.
I'm crying.
All right, a mom in Minnesota went on a 4-year journey to build an accessible playground in her hometown. And Susan Elizabeth Littlefield recently met up with her to see that dream come true.
It's all fun and games at this western Wisconsin park.
Are you gonna run and push it?
But it's been quite the ride to get here. The playground used to look like that. A year later, it looks like this.
It's happened. It's really happened.
You built it and they came.
And they came in masses.
Teresa DeYoung started this mission in 2018. She wanted her son, who has a Down syndrome diagnosis, to have a playground with solid footing and a ramp for kids who use wheelchairs, a need we shared with our WCCO viewers.
After your story aired, we saw, viewers, I assume we're viewers from WCCO, and they were contributing to the Playground Fund, which just warms my heart that, complete strangers were like, this is a feel-good story, this is a good thing, and we want to help make it a reality.
I think it was Will. He did it.
Will did it, yes.
What they did is raise $500,000 to make this dream real.
Do you like your playground?
Yeah!
Yeah!
And there's a lot to like. The sign language board, the stable ramp, the sensory toys, the swings, and the merry-go-round, where Will took his new buddy, WCCO photojournalist Joe Berglove, for a ride.
The cameraman, yeah.
Have you had some moments of emotion with it?
Seeing him just light up and enjoy it, it brings tears to my eyes.
And smiles to the whole family.
Oh.
This playground makes him follow me more for some reason, so I get to play with him more on this playground.
A playground that kids of all abilities can enjoy together.
This just really is all about what he stands for. Just inclusivity and being with everyone and loving life.
Which works out great, because these days, the world is Will's playground.
It's not what you take with you, it's what you leave behind. All right, when a former small business owner in California found himself homeless, he decided to advocate for others who might find themselves in the same predicament. CBS Sacramento's Andrew Hobner has the story.
Every morning, Lori Tolan ties Jason Means' shoes. The arthritis has prevented him from bending over to do it himself.
When I walk, you can actually hear my bones popping real loud and everything.
But still he walks, and walks some more. The couple owned a small business before the pandemic hit.
Started out snow cones, and then we had donuts and coffee. It was like a little, setup and everything. And I had a trailer, small trailer that was set up for, doing all that.
And then in rapid succession, the duo lost their means of income and then their house.
We lived in our trucks for probably about a year.
They were homeless, and then came the hammer. Lori was diagnosed with cancer.
I figured, well, we got to have some place where she can be comfortable, and when she goes through her treatments and everything. And so I purchased a 1988 Allegra RV.
Options dwindled.
Nobody wants to hire a 61-year-old man that can't walk, and Lori, she can't work, because of her cancer.
Even social service options were difficult.
It's just a long waiting period, a lot of waiting, and a lot of times there's something that we don't qualify for.
So Jason decided to do something.
Told Lori about it, and she thought I lost my mind. She goes, "You can't even walk to the bathroom. How are you gonna, we'll do this walk."
He started walking.
Going over 80.
From Martinez to Sacramento. It's partially to fundraise for Lori's cancer treatments. But now Jason sees it's bigger than them.
There's so many out there that want housing, and want, a better life, and it's just so hard because the homeless problem is just so huge right now.
In just 12 days, he's walked 41 miles and waits out the extreme heat in Dixon.
What I use to put around my neck is a sock that I fill up with ice, and I put it around my neck, and I just keep doing that.
To advocate for elderly and disabled homeless all across America.
I don't have a problem advocating for them at all, it's just, there needs to be some kind of change, some kind of change, some kind of something that gets people off the streets.
That's what it's all about. Coming up, bachelor parties usually involve a group of guys and some partying, but Mitch White's bachelor party featured a rescue of a furry friend. We now introduce you to some guys on a bachelor party who put a pause on their fun to make an extraordinary rescue. Here's CBS Minnesota's David Schumann with more.
Yeah, he's definitely lost.
At the sound of a simple bark, a weekend canoe trip to send Mitch White off into holy matrimony became a suddenly urgent rescue operation.
It's just so muddy still.
The 11-man bachelor party discovered a St. Bernard buried up to his neck in thick, heavy mud a few feet off the Minnesota River in Carver.
And we were trying to figure out what to do, and I was like, my fiance Kelly probably won't marry me if we don't get this dog out of here.
So they dug, several of them for at least half an hour.
Because the dog wasn't moving on its own. So we were feeding it and giving it water, but the dog seemed like it had already used up all of its energy.
They called for first responders who helped the dog, who does have a name, get back home.
People saved you, Ed.
Ed is now back with George, where he belongs.
He likes to roam from time to time, and he usually comes back.
George says Ed was gone for about a day when the Carver County Sheriff's Office called.
He was in a heck of a predicament. We got him up the hill, and now he's brought back to strength, thanks to the Carver County Sheriff's Department and the Carver Fire Department as well.
And of course, Mitch and his bachelor party.
They're the real heroes here too as well. Well, I'd like to know their names so I could send a card of thanks.
All right, coming up, Tony visits a stunt training center to see what it takes to perform high-flying movie stunts like Tom Cruise.
I have massive respect. I know how hard it is to do the things that he does. You know, it's just overall better if the actor can do it.
But how hard is it really? I mean, could I do it?
Hey, today, we actually choreographed a fight for you.
Yeah?
So we're going to warm you up.
Okay.
Get you nice and loose.
Okay.
And teach you to do a fight scene.
Tom Cruise stars in the action-packed Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 movie. It's the 7th film in the series. Now, Cruise is not only a great actor, but he's known for doing his own stunts, some of them death-defying. Now, instead of just sitting back and watching a movie like the rest of us, Tony Dokoupil tried out some stunts of his own.
If you know anything about Mission Impossible, you know this. The stunts in every new movie without fail seem to be bigger and better than the stunts in the last. Open the door! And when you see Tom Cruise dangling from a plane, the director makes darn sure you know it's really him.
The challenge normally when you're shooting an action movie is you're always trying to hide the fact that it's a stuntman and not the actor. In Mission Impossible, it's the opposite. You're trying to show that it is Tom and not a stuntman.
Christopher McQuarrie has now directed 3 Mission Impossible films, part of a 15-year-plus collaboration and friendship with Cruise.
I like to describe it as one long conversation about movies that's occasionally interrupted by production.
It began ahead of their 2008 thriller Valkyrie, when both were at a professional crossroads, and McQuarrie in particular was thinking of leaving Hollywood.
The only reason I was thinking about leaving the film business is I didn't really have a creative partner. I didn't have a creative net. And that was our very first meeting, was talking about the kind of movies we wanted to make, why we make movies. And Tom was somebody who was very straightforward about, I make mass entertainment.
In the relationship, when it comes to the story and the stunts, who pushes whom?
We're pushing each other. I think we're pushing each other. We're challenging one another. When you work with Tom, you find yourself doing things you didn't think you were capable of doing.
Where other actors would happily allow a trained stunt double to step in, Cruise, who's also a producer of the series, does the stunts himself. And that's even after breaking an ankle on a leap between buildings during the filming of MI6. To get a sense of just how demanding these stunts can be,
Hey, how are you? How you doing, man? Nice to meet you, Tony.
I met with Stephen Kepfer, who's made a living performing them on TV shows and films, including the John Wick series. He can really do it all.
Judo, jiu-jitsu, sambo. So we're a lot of throwing people around.
He now throws people around at his stunt training facility in New York, where he told us a good stunt always starts with a coherent story.
So it's not to do cool for the sake of cool.
You're like, hey, I can do a backflip here. I think, I can do it.
Yeah, meanwhile, you're an office worker who's never trained anything in your life, but all of a sudden you're doing a backflip.
Yeah, they're like,
right?
we don't need the backflip.
Right, so part of our job is to really collaborate with the writer and the director to make sure that the story that they want to be told is being told.
And that's part of the secret in Mission Impossible. There is a design behind the danger. But let's also be clear, the danger here is very real. And when it comes to Tom Cruise, so is the talent behind it.
I have massive respect. I know how hard it is to do the things that he does. You know, it's just overall better if the actor can do it.
But how hard is it really? I mean, could I do it?
Hey, today, we actually choreographed a fight for you.
Yeah?
So we're going to warm you up.
Okay.
Get you nice and loose.
Okay.
And teach you to do a fight scene.
It took about 2 hours to prepare for my little scene, learning the fake falls, the punches,
nice,
and the knife tricks.
Hey.
Which does make you understand how hard this really is, and that it took thousands of hours of planning and training to pull off a movie like the latest Mission Impossible.
Look at all the marketing that went into Tom Cruise's motorcycle stunt and parachuting, and that's a big part of what sells the film now, is that it is Tom Cruise doing it. and we can do bigger, better, and on and on and on and on.
Because that motorcycle stunt scene alone has drawn so much attention ahead of the release of Dead Reckoning Part 1, we asked McQuarrie to explain it to us.
This is Tom. He's on a ramp, and we've replaced the ramp with CG landscape. That's the only digital element in the shot.
But at this point, that's real air, real Tom Cruise, real motorcycle.
That's real Tom Cruise, real motorcycle, real clouds. Now this is taken from as a separate take, where it's Tom and a cameraman, and Tom doing actual dialogue in freefall.
Where's your heart and mind at that point?
It's very much an out-of-body experience. It's life and death stakes, and it's very, very real. You're what we call in present time.
As for my more minor stunt, the acting perhaps could have used some work.
Oh, crying out loud, I'm too old for this.
But it felt like I actually picked up on the choreography pretty quickly. So look, Paramount, if you're ever looking for some cross-promotion, I am available for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, and for whatever Tom Cruise and Chris McQuarrie can come up with next.
Who wears short shorts? My guy Tony does. All jokes aside, you look good and the stunts were great. All right, that's our show. I hope this news brightened your day and lifted you up. We'll see you next time on The Uplift.